Hey everybody, it's X, and welcome back to some more Magic Arena, and today we have the return of cube drafts to Arena with the Chromatic Cube. If you've never heard of a cube draft before, instead of drafting from normal booster packs of a specific set, you're drafting from a bunch of the best cards from Magic's entire history. And so in Chromatic Cube Draft, it's going to be a little bit different. Instead of the absolute best, most efficient cards ever, it's a little more focused on some top end stuff. A lot of big, multicolored, splashy spells, and like 8 mana cards, like one with the multiverse. There's less good, cheap, efficient removal. Cards like Sheoldred's Edict become pretty premium in this format because once again, there's much less removal than like the normal cube, at least much less efficient removal. You can't really do like mono red or mono white aggro or anything either because there's a really high quantity of multicolor cards as well. This is the big splashy goofy play style cube. So for a pack one pick one, I am just going to go with the cheap removal spell here. I find that big finishers, like most of the cards in this pack, are incredibly replaceable in Chromatic Cube because that's the majority of cards in this cube, but when it comes to things that can actually deal with your opponent's threats, your opponent's finishers at an efficient rate, those are the things that you're going to have a harder time grabbing. So for pick two here, I'm really happy to just take Price of Fame and stick to mono black, although there's also the Wandering Emperor, which can remove a attacking creature, remove a tapped creature, as well as stick around and give you more value throughout the game with the rest of her abilities. There is also a Vona here, which is pretty solid. Kind of a lot of mana, 5 mana, but 4-2 menace. Destroy any non-land, non-token permanent an opponent controls, and you could even discard a card, get a copy of it. It's a pretty powerful alchemy card. I am not particularly familiar with most of the alchemy cards, so there's going to be a lot of reading throughout the cube as I try to familiarize myself with them here. But that does seem quite powerful. I think I would rather just take a card I'm more familiar with if I want something that is removal plus more, like the Wandering Emperor here. But honestly, I really don't just mind the Price of Fame here for more on-color removal. Sticking to mono black for now. And then an Extinction Event is, if you're lucky, it's going to be a full-on board wipe. Sometimes you can even use it in your favor, where some of your creatures survive and you're only clearing out opposing creatures. At worst, it's always going to clear out like one of your opponent's creatures. So I think the card seems pretty fine here as well. Pretty simple stuff so far. One of the things that really baffles me about the design of this cube is they gave it worse mana fixing than the Arena Cube. This is the really multicolored, really splashy one. They want you to be able to do 2, 3 color stuff, sometimes maybe even 5 color stuff. But they didn't put the fetch lands in it to go with the shock lands and triomes. Some of the design decisions for this cube really are quite strange to me. I understand removing a lot of the efficient removal, the really aggressive, really efficient creatures as well to help incentivize that multicolored stuff, but I really feel that I wish the fetch lands were definitely still in here. Pick 5 now. We've got Atris. That can be a pretty good card draw spell if we go for blue-black here, which seems like a pretty good controlling archetype. Basically, every card we've taken so far is great for a control deck. A bunch of removal, a potential board wipe. We've got the Vraska for a card draw engine or a removal spell, whichever we need. And I don't think Sidisi is a particularly powerful card, so I am at the point where I'm definitely ready to speculate into a second color. Yeah, I like the Atris here. There's also some Alchemy blue card. Seems fine. If we can get Delirium, Roller Crusher Ride could be like a one-sided board wipe. Maybe we get to go some kind of Grixis-y control deck. I don't think Rakdos would be the most controlling if we're just black and red, but definitely played some Grixis decks in this cube before, because obviously Nicol Bolas is awesome. But I think I'm going to lean blue here, take the Atris. Pick 6 now. Some blue options, no red options, no black options, so pretty happy to have dipped a toe in a blue here. Frost Titan's a pretty solid finisher. The interaction, the removal spells in this format are not the most efficient, and with a Frost Titan on board, your opponent has to spend an additional 2 to target this. This is going to lock your opponent's best creature out of the game, because it's going to hit the board, tap it, and stun it, and then every time it attacks, just keep stunning that same creature. I don't mind that at all. I could definitely see the argument for a more efficient card like Into the Royal, because as I've said before, cards like Frost Titan, the big finishers, are a bit replaceable, but I think Frost Titan's a really cool one. It's a classic one, the whole Titan cycle from M11, so I'm interested in playing around with it here. For pick 7, we've got a Champion of Wits for decent card selection, or Davriel. Davriel is interesting. It's really hard to know how good Davriel is going to be, and it's pretty high variance. It's pretty RNG dependent. It's based on your luck there of what conditions you happen to get. But technically, you can always at least give something -3/-3 forever when you play the Davriel. But the most interesting and powerful of Davriel's abilities is completely random, the -2 there. I mean, Davriel's cool enough, and I'm much deeper into black than blue that I will go with him here. Pick 8, we can speculate on some random fixing, or we can just take the Cyba Siphoner. This is obviously quite good when you have no other instants or sorceries in your hand. A 2-mana 2/2 flash, pick up one from your grave. I'll take the Siphoner. Zombify here for Reanimator deck. I don't think that's great. Clever Impersonator's pretty solid in any cube because there's going to be some really powerful permanents on the board. So that's a really solid option to stick to what we're doing. But I wouldn't mind taking Bituminous Blast. This is going to remove most creatures and also cascade into an additional spell, which is really nice. It's certainly better in more aggressive decks where basically all of your cards are creatures or removal spells, because then you don't have to worry about hitting something at the wrong time. In a deck like this, it's possible that we Bituminous Blast and then hit like an Extinction Event or something, and just have like no value off casting that at the same time. Pick 10, Archmage of Runes is a card dungeon with enough instant sorceries. Looks fine. For our blue-black control deck, now a Clone Crafter, 2-mana 1/2. And you draw a card when you play it. You draw a random creature card from your opponent's library into your hand, essentially. Looks fun. Pick 12, I like the classic Titans. I would not mind a Sun Titan, but pretty locked in on blue-black here. I don't think I'm going to go like Esper Sun Titan stuff. We do not have a lot of mana value, 3 or less permanents to pick up with the Titan, so I'd rather have the Captain Lannery in case we get to do Grixis nonsense, and Roller Crusher Ride going pick 13 means maybe we get to do Grixis nonsense. And this card's probably pretty good, but I mean, it's also some alchemy nonsense, so I'm just going to go with Roller Crusher Ride, like I know that that card is good. Okay, Buried Treasure's almost definitely bad, so take the random fixing. Sadly, it's off-color to what we're doing right now, but still got it. So pack 2, pick 1. Ooh, they put Golos in here. I wonder if Field of the Dead is still in here. I know for sure the fetch lands are not, which is, again, still kind of wild to me. They gave us a furry version of Tameo over the normal one. I wanted to say what animal this is specifically, but I can't really tell. I think it's a bunny with super gigantic ears. Unsure. We've got Thundering Falls for some blue-red fixing. We have Rankle for a really flexible card. Use whichever abilities of these is advantageous to you. Overlord of the Flood Pits is really nice, giving us some early card draw, as well as a finishing flying threat later after the impending. I like this Overlord a lot. I don't think I'm going for the full 5-color Golos right off the bat, especially when I've spent basically 0 picks on mana fixing so far this draft. That's the kind of pick you can take if you grabbed a few Triomes pack 1. That helps a lot. So pack 2, pick 2. Obnixilis is pretty nasty. Shipwreck Marsh is pretty important. Unable to Scream, super efficient. Removal. This does seem particularly good in Cube, turning any creature into just an O2 with no abilities. Yeah, I'm going to keep taking really efficient removal over basically anything. Get really control-y here. Pick 3, Metamorph, very similar to the Clever Impersonator, because of the quality of permanence in this cube, should be quite powerful. Enduring Curiosity is very fun if you're a deck with a lot of creatures, which we're kind of not. Remand is a nice way to slow your opponent down. Remand is actually probably pretty nuts in this cube. A lot of turns, I imagine, later in the game are going to be slamming down 5 drops, 6 drops, just big plays because there's so many of them. So if you hold up just 2 mana, like you play a 3 drop and hold this up, and then your opponent taps out for something big and you remand it, that's such a good tempo swing. I feel like remand is probably pretty sick in this cube. I'll try it out here in this deck. This is kind of the perfect deck for it. Pick 4, Drowned Catacomb. If I was a much more diligent drafter, we would probably take that here, but Magma Opus is so fun. And I do have some random red cards if we get a little bit of fixing towards that. Cure is reasonable if I want to just give up on red entirely and just go pure blue-black. This cube, even if you're just a 2-color deck, the fixing's pretty important though, because there's so many double black, double blue cards that even in a 2-color deck, you could find yourself stuck off of your second mana of a certain color. Yeah, almost definitely has to be Catacomb, right? I feel like we're in a really, really good position to just be blue-black here, so I actually will go ahead and make the safe pick there. Stay off the red. Pick 5, Rona's fine. 2 mana, 1/3, draw a card, discard a card every turn. Looters are pretty nice. Dig for what you need. And later in the game, Rona can become your kind of win condition, just a 5/5 trample to flip up there. It's got some bonus text, but I don't know how often that's been relevant. Okay, so it's like a 5/5 trample that they cannot chump block, or they're going to be giving you cards. Yeah, that's pretty nasty. Rona seems pretty good. Pick 6, I like Scholar of the Lost Trove a lot. This is a great way to stabilize and get ahead in the late game, because you just get a gigantic creature and recast your best removal spell from your grave. Sadly, this is also very good with Magma Opus, which we passed up on. Because you can discard Magma Opus to make a treasure token so that you can cast the Scholar faster, and then the Scholar recasts the Opus. But I did not know for sure if they kept Torrential Gearhulk and Scholar in here. I have not looked over the whole cube list. I've just watched a little bit of people streaming the cube, and that's how I know that they didn't put the fetches in it. But not sure from there. Aberration's fine, but again, we don't need more big finishers. Let's just take consider for more early card draw. That should keep our draws rolling in quite nicely. Could have taken some black-red fixing here and ended up with the full Grixis build, but again, we're looking in a really solid spot to be pure Dimir, where I can take Temple of Deceit now. Muldrifter is a solid card with Graveyard Recursion or ways to flicker it, but I don't have any of that right now. So Muldrifter's just fine. I'm just going to lock in more blue-black fixing. Make sure we hit both of our colors consistently. Here is one blue-red source. With nothing else to take, here's a hard evidence that's fine. Blocks a little bit early and we can crack the clue to draw a card. Enduring Curiosity probably has to get cut. I doubt we're going to have a high enough creature count to try to draw cards off of this thing. Pick 12, something for the red splash if we do that. None of these are great. Goggles, you have to have other cards to go with it. Angreth just doesn't do a ton. Saheeli's pretty narrow. Just take the goggles there. Draconic Debut is very cute, but the odds of us getting that and a dragon have got to be pretty low, right? Alright, pack 3, pick 1. What have we here? Unstoppable Slasher is super nasty, even in a control deck. I think the card's just ridiculous. But we can also take Efficient Interaction like Cyclonic Rift. 2 mana, bounce an online permanent we don't control, slow our opponent down that way. And then top deck this in the late game to bounce our opponent's board back and really slow them down. Soul Transfer is a solid removal spell. Really want to have an artifact and enchantment on board to get the 2-for-1 off of this for it to be really cube power level worthy. And that's not going to happen very consistently. Count Dracula is a card draw engine, but costs a lot of life to do it. We could get life-linking vampires, though, off him. I'm just going to take the Slasher. I just think that card's just nuts in general. Okay, I like the blue-black pathway a lot, but we might be able to wheel that. We got these other two blue-black lands somewhat late. I think they were like pick 7, pick 8-ish, so maybe we can get a pick 10 pathway. Guess that'd be a little difficult. But I do think Abhorrent Oculus is a very powerful card. Exile 6 cards from your graveyard. That's pretty difficult without a really high instant sorcery count to end up in grave. We've got 7 right now. We have a tiny bit of Surveil with, like, Consider. I don't know. I've got 2 blue-black duels already, and I feel like Oculus could be just an unstoppable win condition. Pick 3. Extravagant Replication is obviously a huge win condition, but it is very slow. Eldest Reborn is also kind of a win condition. It's like 2-for-1 interaction. Your opponent sacks a creature and discards a card, and then it also is going to reanimate the best creature planeswalker from a grave. I feel like I like that better than Replication. It's just more efficient and almost as impactful. I'll just go Eldest Reborn. I mean, it's got Bolas in the artwork. I'm obviously quite biased on that one, but what are you going to do? Crush Tentacles is fine. Solemn's pretty great. Hostage Taker's pretty great for these slower, more controlling decks. Not a good Technomancer deck. I think I'm going to go Hostage Taker. I love the removal spell on a stick style creatures. Drop this on the board, exile their best card, maybe even cast it against them. Pick 5. More of that blue-red fixing. It is everywhere. We could have been full Grixis, but if there's no Bolas, I don't care. There's Overlord of the Baelmerc here. 2 mana, mill 4, pick up a creature, Planeswalker. And then it keeps doing that off every attack, or we just have another looter that turns into a win condition at 6 mana. Very, very similar to Rona, but I feel like this kind of card is going to fit really well into this deck. Just keeps us playing consistently in the early game and gives us a finisher without having to use a card slot to do it. Soothsayer is good if it's like in your opener, pretty mediocre later. Hawkwhale's nice. Removal and then a big creature. Snapcaster Mage is really good if you have a ton of cheap instant sorcery removal spells, but we don't really. We have like a couple. We have like no counter spells to go with the Snapcaster either. I think Lockwhale's probably just better. Awkwardly. Pick 7. 2 mana to draw a card and put a Fibblethip in your deck. And if you ever draw the Fibblethip, it's 2 mana, 1/1 draw a card, and then this is solved, and you can look at the top card and play lands and cast spells from the top. Okay, so if we're really lucky this plays super well, I'd rather just take Guardian Idol and get a little bit of mana ramp there. No luck required on Guardian Idol, it just will be a mana rock, period. As will Solar Transformer. This is definitely not a Scrawling Crawler deck. So now we take Futurist Spell Thief then. Yeah. Our opponent casts something, we respond with this to have our own copy in our hand to play against them later. Ingress is very, very funny, but not actually that strong. Okay. We get to make a few cuts here before we get into the gameplay for our pure Dimir control deck to start us off. I think Portent's just really bad because it's very inconsistent. I think I mainly want to cut down on the creatures here. This feels like plenty for a blue-black, more controlling deck. I don't think we have a massively high instant or sorcery count either, which makes the Archmage a little weaker. Makes the Siphoner a little weaker as well, but it also makes it easier to cast this for double blue instead of the 4 mana, so I think I'm still cool with the Siphoner. Spell Thief's a little inconsistent. It really depends how good of a spell your opponent has on the stack. You can duplicate your own spell as well, but then we have to treat this as a very late game play, like turn 5 at the earliest. So I go like 2 mana Sheoldred's Edict, 3 mana Spell Thief in response. I think I would rather just cut that as one of the more inconsistent cards here. Oculus also, I think, ended up being kind of inconsistent. It would be kind of difficult to have that big of a graveyard anytime early. We also have ideally a lower creature count here because I'm cutting a lot of them, which makes the Enduring Curiosity quite a bit worse as well. So let's cut all those and then like the 3 worst non-creature spells. Quicken seems just insanely filler. Then like a Crush of Tentacles here, probably. Yeah, I mean, it's not a board wipe, it just puts things back in hand. It's really only good if you Surge it, and even then, they just need the 1 removal spell to deal with the Octopus, and everything that you bounced gets to be recast soon enough, so far from the greatest board wipe style card. Yeah, I'll cut those 2. 1 more cut. I guess there's always that Davriel. I wish I could see the list of offers and conditions again, because it's so dependent on how good that is, whether this card is really any good. Because 4 mana, -3 to give something -3/-3. It's so unlikely Davriel really gets to stick around too long if you try to use him as removal. It's really, really dependent on the offers and conditions, but as far as I remember, they're not insanely valuable. I'm just going to get rid of Davriel here. Too many possibilities on the card, too much to think of. We'll just get rid of that. Double check our mana base here, 15 blue spells and 8 black. So the slight lean towards blue looks super fine to me. We still want to have a good chunk, probably. I guess I don't actually have any double black in the deck. I was going to say, usually you want to keep your mana base pretty even in this cube because of all the double black, double red, double green kind of cards, but not a single card in our deck requires multiple black mana. We just need a single swamp on board to be able to cast basically everything in the deck. We need double blue for a whole ton of stuff. So I actually am going to lean even more heavily towards blue and do that here. Go for the 11-8 split. Those are pretty good counts thanks to the dual lands, plus running a full 17 lands in the deck. Seems like a really solid little blue-black control deck here. Does not look bad at all, and I'm pretty excited to see what all everybody's going to be playing around with here. We've got a pretty basic, pretty simple deck, but maybe our opponents will bring some spice to the table so we can get a good idea of what's going on in the Chromatic Cube this time around from safely behind the glass as we stare at them playing our simple 2-color control deck. So without further ado, let's just go ahead and hop into gameplay and see how this does. All right, here we are for game 1. Our opponent is on the play. They start with Rogrin Triumph, blue, red, and white mana available. Our hand is fine here. It's certainly nothing super exciting. We've got the Jacob Hawken to dig through our deck and find what we need. We've also got the draw 2, discard 1 from the Overlord, and that will double as our win condition once the impending doom triggers and the Overlord becomes a creature. We are definitely just going to run this out turn 3, though, rather than waiting till 5 mana. I suppose it depends what Jacob draws here. I'm not going to hold him up as a blocker against what looks to be a potential 5-color deck. They're pretty unlikely to have a haster. Okay, I'm going to get rid of the 7-drop. It's going to be quite some time before we can cast that, and if they do not get any removal to kill Jacob in time, being able to cast the Scholar for free is going to be one of the most deadly cards that we could hit off of the flip here, turning this into Hawken's Insight, casting our cards for free. Our opponent has still cast nothing so far. Let's see if we can't hit something to cast this turn. I don't have a 4-drop. Swamp is not a 4-drop either. So we're just going to be staring at each other here. If you ever wanted any proof that this Chromatic Cube is much slower than the normal Arena Cube, this game right here, our very first game in this cube, is pretty clear evidence. There are incredibly viable aggro decks in the normal Arena Cube. You can even play mono-colored aggro decks like mono white and mono red. But we expect to see much less of that here. Alright, our opponent is stuck on 4 mana, and they just go ahead and Royal Eruption Jacob, because basically nothing's happening this game anyway. Or nothing else is happening this game anyway. Here's a Vraska that's going to force them to have more removal, otherwise we get to draw an extra card every single turn. Okay, only on Vraska, yes please. I do not want to make the Flood Pits take longer to unlock. There's an Uro. That is a pretty exceptional card with some broken visual design on the Arena client. Draw a card, gain 3. They can play an extra land, but they didn't hit a land. They are really missing land drops over there, so Frost Titan's going to be brutal. One of the nastiest things about Frost Titan is, surprisingly, it can actually tap a land. So Frost Titan looks like just an excellent 6-drop finisher here. They're already stuck on mana, and we make it even more painful now. Stunning a land every turn. There's a Rada. That gives us something to kill with Eldest Reborn. I do not mind that at all, especially if I draw a land off of Vraska, so that I can have Remand up. Oh yeah. I don't see how we could possibly lose from here, because now we're killing their only creature. And we have a Remand for anything they try to cast, and they are dead in, I guess, technically 3 swings. I was going to say 2 swings, but they're at 23, and we would deal 22. So, I mean, I guess technically it takes 3 turns to kill them, but they're going to be at 1 life after 1 more turn. Tribal Flames will Remand that, unless they have another mountain in hand. Then we get to keep all our creatures on board, hit for 11, and there's the concession. Just some rough mana from our opponents. We just got to cast all of our big stuff on curve while they did not. And so pretty simple, 1-0 way to start things off. Alright, here we are on the play this time for game number 2. Perfectly happy with the hand. Got some good early plays. Overlord's slightly awkward as a draw because I don't have double blue. But I already have a good turn 3 play with the Unstoppable Slasher. Blue-black mirror match here. There aren't a ton of efficient counterspells in this cube. There are a lot of better late-game counterspells, so I was going to be perfectly happy to run out the Slasher here into that 2 open mana from our opponent. But they tapped out anyway. They are going to try out the Case of the Lost Witness. It's a pretty fun one. If they do happen to top deck the Fibblethip, it'll be very, very good. But otherwise, super, super filler. Obviously, 2 mana, draw 1 card is quite bad. So it's a pretty high variance card, unless you have ways to maybe like tutor out the Fibblethip. Alright, Extinction Event is annoying here, because just exiling the Unstoppable Slasher is one of the best ways to deal with it. And even if it's the only creature they kill with Extinction Event, that's a solid 1-for-1. Yeah, I was going to say, I imagine they're just going to get rid of the Slasher, because if they don't, they're losing half their life. More likely than not, they know we're removal-heavy color pair. Alright, we get to hard cast the Overlord. Draw 2, discard 1. No lands is awkward. Probably Rona here. I like our other finishers a lot better. Frost Titan and Whale are both excellent. There's a Shieldred. Goodbye, Overlord. Shieldred, one of those incredible just removal spell on a stick creatures that gives immediate value. They flip Shieldred, she immediately blows up another creature. So if I just Frost Titan, Frost Titan does take 2 extra mana to target. So technically, I can Frost Titan and they can't Shieldred it. Yeah, I'll do that here. Although if they do hit a land drop next turn, I'll have to price of Fame Shieldred before they hit their 7th mana, because then they could spend 5 and flip Shieldred and the additional 2 to target the Frost Titan. I believe it's spell or ability, right? Yeah, spell or ability costs 2 to target it. Alright, so they go for Muldrifter, draw 2, get a little flyer. Solid, but they are tapped out. They did hit their 6th mana, so if they just untap, play a basic, they can kill Frost Titan with Shieldred, so we're not going to let that happen. Very happy to hit the next blue mana, because now I can Price of Fame for 2, and then I could also Cyba Siphoner in their end step if I don't have to remand anything. I like both of these cards. I guess Extinction Event's a little awkward. I mean, they've got an odd mana creature. It's probably Chumping Titan, though. Yeah, we might hold them off the mana and let them chump here if they want. That doesn't seem horrible. Yeah, I don't think Extinction Event looks insane here, but Vraska's definitely good. I suppose there's probably some amounts of, like, Reanimator spells in the cube. To where maybe we're supposed to hit the, Create a 2/2, mill 2. That's honestly not that bad. Oh no, that is a reanimate. They can minus and reanimate Shieldred. Okay, that is really bad. We do have to remand that. Okay. I could Siphoner back remand right now. And then 2 mana to remand. This does colorless even without energy, right? Yeah, so I can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for Vraska and have the 2 up for the remand so they can't Liliana next turn either. Yeah, that's worth it for sure. Just keep that Liliana off of us. There's a Hostage Taker. Hostage Taker Muldrifter is pretty gross, right? Cast it. As long as it remains exiled. So I can evoke it. I may just cast it for its evoke cost, so I could take Muldrifter and then evoke it. And then if they do Liliana back Shieldred, I choose any creature, so I could just sack the Siphoner at this point. Okay, we're not holding up remand this turn then. That is just too appealing to me. Maybe I'm super greedy, but hostage taking a Muldrifter and then evoking it seems insane. They're down to 6. This is their one turn to resolve something big and important. It would have to be pretty much a board wipe now. Liliana's not going to be enough. Collective Brutality. Make me discard Remand? Okay. So they must think they have a way to survive here. Okay, they definitely don't into Frost Titan's ability. Alright, that's pretty brutal. Frost Titan's flavor text demolishing our opponent, and I suppose we are 2-0 now heading into Game 3. Game 3, I like the curve out here a lot. We need to hit more lands, but we can draw a card off our clue token, draw cards off Rona, we can do some digging. This looks really nice for an opener. Got all the early stuff we want. Playing against blue-white. Jeskai now, blue, white, and red. I did hit land 3. I'm going to send a message here. I'm attacking with the crab. Get in there. And then we will clone Crafter since we hit the land here to see if we get anything good from their deck. Oh my god. Okay, there are at least 4 colors because we just got a black creature from their deck, and the black creature is Unstoppable Slasher. So it's time for turn 3 Unstoppable Slasher. And it's not even our own copy, which is particularly rude. There's the Savai Triome, so we've seen red, white, black, and blue mana from our opponent. Clone Crafter, the RNG of just hitting possibly the best 3-drop in their deck is crazy. I mean, they have a pretty horrible time if they don't block Slasher here, so I think I send it in. I could send Clone Crafter as well. Oh my god, they're going to take it. All right, let's go. Go to 8 is the plan. Well, then I will go ahead and Unable to Scream the Thief, make sure that doesn't get me. Drop a Rona. We could Clever Impersonate the Slasher or the Thief of Sanity there. That would be interesting. But I am most happy to just make sure that they're not getting any of these Thief of Sanity triggers for any extra digging for outs. Because it's possible that they could, like, see Thief of Sanity hit us and find our Extinction event or something to exile our Slasher. So Gonti, okay, that's basically one Thief of Sanity trigger, regardless. Gives us another really nice Clever Impersonator target, although I imagine I'm still happy to just impersonate Slasher at this rate. Land 6, I'll keep that. Frost Titan next turn. Okay. This is a Perpetual Alchemy copy of a card, so it's my copy because it's a Perpetual, so it's not going to come back on their board or anything. Impersonate, get a second Slasher. They are the full 5-color. They found a green source. They have Wooburg. Solar Transformer, even more mana. Infamous Cruel Claw. Alright, I know exactly what I'm going to draw here, and I'm perfectly happy with it. I don't want to discard any of these to get this island right now, so I'm not going to tap Rona. I'm just going to draw this island, slam down the Titan. And there's the concession from our opponent. That is 3-0 now. I guess technically thinking of it, it really would not be that bad to have activated Rona there, just because the Lock Whale is not particularly good when you're on the aggressive. It's really good as a defensive play, so it wouldn't have been bad to just cycle the Lock Whale away to see what's after the island there. Yeah. Works out for us fine either way. We pull off the 3-0 and we're heading into game 4. Alright, monocolored hand here for game 4. But it's got our 6-drop Frost Titan finisher that's been consistently great. A little bit of ramp with Transformer. I'll take a Saiba Siphoner. I'm looking for a turn 3 play, and that's a solid one. We get to play Transformer turn 2. Turn 3 we can just Siphoner and Consider. Just gives us something to do with our mana, makes sure that we are impacting the board, setting up our draws, doing something instead of just land go on turn 3. I guess technically I already have Impersonator, but I don't really want to impersonate a Transformer. I could towards casting Frost Titan 1 turn earlier. That feels not ideal, though, when I could just impersonate the Frost Titan later. As a potential better play. Yeah, because I'm not ramping into the Impersonator anyway, since they did play a 1-1 here, I could Siphoner to eat a 1-1 for free and still pick up the Consider. And then next turn I get to play the Transformer and the Consider. Oh, that played so well for me, because if I didn't block this rabbit, they'd get a treasure token, get some more mana here. Really happy with that choice of line. Nom nom nom, goodbye rabbit. There's the nice from opponent. Let's Consider and see if we can find a way to deal with Facebreaker. rather than playing Transformer. Like if we find a Shieldred's Edict or something, we'll absolutely cast that instead. Lock Whale works. We'll do that. Oof. Doesn't work against Spellbinder. We'll hit him back with the nice. They're not thanking me. Oh, there they go. There they go. Alright. Well, there goes that line. Top deck the Remand. That would have been so good on Spellbinder. Transformer, hold up Remand next turn. I have Frost Titan mana off of that. If I hold Siphoner up, I'm only stopping 1 point of damage here. Wouldn't be surprised if I'm supposed to just send in 2. This only triggers once per turn, even if they hit me with all 3 creatures. So I think it's attack with Siphoner. Well, no, I mean, they're Boros, we're Dimir, we should be playing the long game here. Stopping every single point of damage we possibly can. Okay, even if I remand that, they can recast it. Which is quite rough. So there goes the Siphoner. Thankfully, that's really not as bad as if they exiled Solar Transformer, because I was already considering letting them hit me for the 1 extra damage. But if I lost the mana, I'd be really out of luck here. When the Apparition dies, I get a 4/4 on the board. Interesting. That's not going to help me block the Flyer or the Menace card. Could impersonate the Spellbinder to block their Spellbinder. I don't have the mana for Price of Fame anymore, but I still have Remand mana. I'm at 12. Block there, take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 max. It's a tough game. Like we have a theoretically really powerful Price of Fame coming up, but I want to get this Flyer out of here ASAP. See what that card is. Collective Defiance. Okay, that's a problem. That's a problem even if it's taxed. I think they got us here. Too much cheap interaction, too much aggro against our slower hand. Top deck Thrill Seeker. Now they just get to back up one of their creatures and they still have all the treasure tokens from the Facebreaker. Almost feels like Facebreaker soloed us, but I mean really it was the Spellbinder. The Spellbinder turn was what really got us there. Yeah, they would have still had literally all the mana they needed to do every single point of that, even if I remanded. That was lethal no matter how we played that turn out. Yeah, I mean, what can you do? They had a pretty great hand. Things lined up really poorly for us. The Spellbinder was brutal to stop the Lock Whale turn there. It's what it is. I think not much we could do there. We're 3-1 heading into Game 5. All right, Game 5, Snap Keep. Both of our colors, multiple cheap removal spells this time around, so we can't get face broken this time. We've also got great card draw coming up with the Atris, as well as the Cyber Siphoner to bring back one of these cheap removal spells. Okay, Edict the Saboteur. Non-token creature, their choice, this one. We have to Edict first instead of Unable to Scream, because if I Unable to Scream first, they can just sack whatever I put that on to the Edict later, and that is a horrible nombo, so 100% start with the Edict. That also leaves all our mana open in case we top deck a 3-drop, and we immediately top decked Unstoppable Slashers. That was really good luck. We get to fully have their life total for that. They're down to 9 here. Brutal, brutal, brutal. There's Palladium Mirror. Did not cast Rona there because I figured it would be worth holding up the Siphoner, so if they do just play one blocker, I get to pick up Edict and then Edict it and guarantee the Slasher hits again. Okay, sack non-token creature of their choice. Alright, yeah, sorry opponent. A Shieldred's Edict takes me so long, because it's like, you have to click the right button. If you click the wrong button, you've spent 2 mana to do literally nothing, so I just have to double check with that card every time. But yeah, I mean, that was a brutal game. We were going to hit them with both of these. That puts them to 5. Slasher halves that, rounded up, puts them to 2 life there. Disgusting, disgusting curve out for us. And we are now 4-1. That's just another one of those games, similar to some of our early losses, that really shows off the power of streamlined 2-color decks, even in the Chromatic Cube. A lot of our wins have been against decks that are just like triome, dual, 4 or 5 color piles, and meanwhile we're over here just like, all right, efficient removal your mana dork, play an Unstoppable Slasher, GG. It's been a very successful strategy for us so far today, but we'll see how far that lasts as we head into Game 6 here. We are on the play again, which is obviously very advantageous. We have turn 3 Slasher as well. Super advantageous in this cube with a lack of efficient removal. Land 4 towards Lock Whale. I don't mind it, but I'm going to ditch it here. I want to find some cheap removal to get the Slasher locked in for some hits. Maybe the Remand would also be something that looks pretty great for us, as a way to help keep the Slasher on board if they have their own efficient removal. They are a Grixis deck. They ditched a Bolas there, so they probably have some cheap removal spells of their own, some red burn, some black removal, maybe some blue bounce. I mean, still just go for it. Still by far our best turn 3 play. If it draws removal that doesn't exile it, it's still going to be a problem later in the game as well, because it comes back stunned, ready to unlock later on. Sadly, they had exile removal, so it stacks up pretty well for our opponent. Let's ditch the Lock Whale here. If Hawken manages to stick around, a free Lock Whale's a pretty good deal. See if we get a 1 or 2 mana creature off Clone Crafter. We did not, but I really don't mind. Gearhulk's quite the card. Outrageous Robbery. Okay. 3 mana, draw 1 from my deck. Seems super fine to me. They probably need to land pretty badly, it looks like. We do not. I'm not exiling the Gearhulk because I don't want to put all my eggs into the Jacob Hawken basket and then just have him get shot and lose all of our big plays forever. Shield speed 8, perfect, 2 mana. Activate Jacob here anyway, so I don't feel the need to activate Jacob and Rona, especially when I already have the land I need for Gearhulk or a Jacob flip. So I know I want this card, I know I want this card, and then Edict is also genuinely pretty good, so I probably want that as well. Okay, I can't stop a Drowning Iker. I could activate Jacob, but then I would just be exiling the top card of my library. I don't think there's really anything better to draw than these. Well, actually there is, because I don't really want to play Gearhulk if they don't play any creatures, and they have no creatures. So yeah, we ditched the land to play Atris next turn instead, because they don't have anything to kill with Gearhulk in the first place. Cool, we hit a Vraska as well. I think I'm putting more power and toughness on the board over the Planeswalker here. Oh, I'm supposed to activate Rona first. All right. Never seen that flavor text before. Goodbye, Solar Transformer. How did I miss the trash can like 2 feet away from me? Embarrassing. Land, or 1 card. I'll take land. Extinction event when they have an empty board. Okay, I would much prefer land. Boop, boop. Hello, Prosper. Does this trigger in the end step? It does trigger in the end step, but I really want to Gear Hulk here, so I'm going to give them 1 exile. Is there land for next turn? Boop. Our opponent looks like the pure Grixis Bolas deck over there. They technically have a white source off Rafine's Tower, but you tend to play these triomes if you have 2 of the 3 colors, just as, you know, a blue-black dual land you can cycle away. So that definitely doesn't mean that they have white mana in the deck. They could, but what we've seen so far looks like a solid Grixis control build. Similar to what we have, except they actually opened the Bolas. I mean, neither of these piles are horrible for me. I guess they need lands kind of bad. Maybe we give them the 1 land or these 2. I mean, then they just take those 2 guaranteed, right? They're at 11. Take 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I can Edict a creature, have 4 mana up. Can I kill them here? I don't think so. Oh, flip Rona for trample. I mean, these are both menace. Oh, wait, we just kill them off the flip. It doesn't matter what I give them. I don't know if those were the right piles, but again, it doesn't matter what I give them. They're just dead, especially when we draw the land. Oh, I didn't even need the land. All right, well. Yeah, I feel a little bad for taking so long on the Atris thing. I was trying to like get the right piles. I was so zoned in on that I didn't even realize like, oh, it's just super lethal on board. We are now 5-1. I believe that is the in the money point for a cube draft. The prize out is pretty decent in terms of the gold you get. I think it's 4,000 gold to play. Let me go double check with the traditional. But I know for sure. Yeah, it's 4,000 gold to play. So you break even and you're just up in cards at only 5 wins, which is pretty nice. Well, I guess that's pretty equivalent to a premier draft. Yeah, that's equivalent to a premier draft. But yeah, the one thing to really mention here about the whole prize out is that this is all that you get. You don't keep anything you draft in the cube drafts. Anyways, this is a really solid record for the return to Chromatic Cube, so I do not mind this at all. We're 5-1, heading into Game 7. 2 mana Cyber Siphoner, let's go! I draw any of my cheap instants or sorceries, this hand becomes pretty great. I would probably mulligan this hand if we were in like a Chromatic Cube arena open or something. Because against like pretty streamlined, well-designed decks and stuff, this hand could just get destroyed really quick because it doesn't actually do anything till like turn 4. We top decked super well with that Guardian Idol. That sped this hand up so much. And also, this is not an arena open style event. We're playing against everybody who's just hopping into the arena cube for fun. So I'm sure a bunch of people are specifically drafting decks that are not as streamlined as possible because they want to draft something more fun instead. So I'm not worried about getting like aggroed out or curved out very often at all in this cube. So we keep this lower hand. Again, it really, really paid off. I'll take land Rona, that's fine. Especially with the Saiba Siphoner to go with that remand. That's pretty gross. Completely forgot what I was saying now because I just got really excited about Saiba Siphoner remand. I need triple blue up to do that. And I need 6 mana because I drew into a sorcery. They only have a single blue still. Maybe we're just jamming an Overlord here. Just keep playing the biggest, spookiest threats. Okay, the way that played out really makes it feel like they have the removal here. So we'll see if we can get them to kill something weaker then. Drop the Rona. Drop the Hard Evidence. Draw the card off of it in their end step. Okay, that's 2 damage removal, so it wouldn't have been big enough to kill the Overlord anyway. But there's a lot of, like, 1 in a red instant deal 3 to any target kind of spells. So I don't feel bad about playing around that specifically in a blue-red deck. It didn't pan out perfectly because it was just a deal 2, but again, could have easily been a deal 3, where Overlord gets destroyed. Find a Swamp. Find another Swamp. Sure. I wish one of these was an island so I could Overlord and still have Siphoner up. That wouldn't give me Remand up, but still be fine. I'm just gonna play a Lock Whale in their end step, I think. Six ward 2 to kill them with. This taps them out of their counterspell, whatever it is. If it's a Sublime Epiphany, which is usually like the insta-win, it's not even that good there. Kindred Denial's pretty nasty, though. I will definitely say that. Another Swamp? Please, Arena. One more blue is so good. Okay, well... we know they have a 6-drop in hand now, so I'm not going to tap out for Overlord. I'm going to hold up the Siphoner Remand play. That is super fine. You are welcome to kill Guardian Idol. I got plenty of swamps at this point. So if whatever they play doesn't have like a great enter effect or anything, we can just hostage taker it. If it does, we can remand it. I think we have to stare at each other. Because if it isn't a 6-drop they want to just instantly resolve, it's probably Sublime Epiphany. I can't really run into that with the Overlord. There's too many just scary 6-drops they could have here. Oh, it was Shark Typhoon. That's brutal, because it's technically not a spell, so I can't remand it. That's filthy. Yeah, I can only get back remand. I can't do anything about this. That was such a good hit off the Kindred Nile. Jeez. Alright. I mean, Hostage Taker's good here. We don't get to cast the Shark against them, but even if they kill Hostage Taker, the Shark's gone, so it should be fine. Okay, at this point, show me the counter for Siphoner. Got 1,000,000 mana up. And they're just going to hold it up every single turn. Never going to get around the counter spell, so let's lean into it, get them to counter Siphoner instead of Overlord or Hostage Taker or something, and they do not have the counter here. Beautiful. I will take the Shark. And everything I do for the rest of the time is going to be with the Remand held up in addition. Although they have so much mana that the Remand doesn't matter too much unless they try to play a really expensive counterspell like Sublime Epiphany. That's super chill. Now they're tapped out enough to not really be able to counter anything through a Remand. Even if they have like a 3-mana counter. Yeah, we can actually genuinely delay Ral for a turn, so feels about as good as their man's gonna get, and they're basically tapped out of a counter here anyway, because all the counters in this cube are really inefficient. They are like 2-for-1s though, like all of them. Okay, so Scholar casts Guardian Idol here. Or Hard Evidence. Not the greatest Scholar. Frostine just feels like our best play. This is kind of weird, but like with nothing to hold up, I'm also just going to Impending the Overlord. Do a little digging. This looks great. So their game plan here might be like try to double Devil's Play us with Ral's -2. It's going to take them 2 turns to do it. They're going to have to find a way to survive another swing, as well as make sure Ral survives another swing. I mean, they definitely do survive another swing. But Ral really does not on board. Plus, I have the Eldest Reborn. If they don't play any other creatures or planeswalkers alongside the Ral. Devil's Play, of course, big X mana thing, but they can flashback it as well. Oh. They're going for an instance. Well, let me consider my options. Edict's a good option. We'll take it. Go to comment and see what they have here. Keep some mana locked down. Lockwhale the Frost Titan. Pay the extra 2. That puts Frost Titan on top or bottom of our library. But I have plenty of ways to kill the whale if they hardcast that. Okay. That's a solid draw. I'll keep it. Hardcast Vraska because I'm just holding up a 2-drop anyway. So no need to pay the 2 life. Swindle's cute. It does matter a little with the Devil's Play. But they're still not at 16 for sure. Are they at Ral double Devil's Play? They might be. That would be kind of brutal. The Spell Swindle Ral kill. So Devil's Play is 7 doubled. Okay, it's not lethal yet. It would be lethal next turn. They're going for it, though. Okay. We take 14. Yeah, the way that Planeswalkers work is I couldn't Edict Ral before his -2 activates. They get to play it, they still have priority, they get to activate it. Now that it's activated and the -2 is on the stack, that's my first opportunity to kill it, and if I kill it then they still get the doubles play anyway. Oh shoot, Ral has a static ability. Oh, I forgot the static ability. Oh, they're taking an extra turn anyway? Okay. Each opponent sacks a Planeswalker of their choice. Okay, I think I almost punted this game away. But because they chose to take an extra turn, we might be okay. No, yeah, no, because it animates us. It animates 2 6/6s as well. Yeah, we still die. Okay, we would die no matter what. God dang it. Ral double extra turn plus double 6/6 is brutal. Yeah, we had nothing around that. We kept the instant speed removal, but it didn't matter. Because that's just how Planeswalkers work. 5-2 it is, heading into game number 8. Love this hand for game 8. Remand has been absolutely incredible. Pretty massive overperformer in our early games. We are on the draw here against green-red, and they start turn 2 with a curated for ramp, which is pretty rough. We'll start with our Solar Transformer for ramp to try to catch up, but again, we're on the draw here, they're on the play, so they're quite a bit ahead on mana, casting 4 drops while I'm chilling with 3 mana. Definitely have the tempo in their favor, which makes Remand a little bit rougher. They're just going to immediately go for a 4/5 trample here. Put the pressure on me. Clever Impersonator is awful right now. It makes a 0/1 Hydra. Or I just make a Solar Transformer. So we're going to clone Crafter and then hold up a Remand, probably. I could also Jacob hold up a Remand. Neither of these blocks well at all. I'm going to just draw an immediate extra card here off of Clone Crafter. Find Llanowar Loam Speaker. Okay. Yeah, I mean, the best time to play your mana ramp creatures is the early turns of the game, so that makes it kind of hard to justify holding up a Remand when we can get even more mana, and that's what our opponent chooses to do as well. They play their own Mana Rock and get the copy of Clone Crafter till end of turn. That's a really, really nice combo for our opponent. Their Mana Rock draws another creature because we have Clone Crafter on our board. Really solid Cursed Mirror trigger. Oh, and the Royal Eruption mana, thanks to their Mana Dork. Okay, I have 3 mana to do whatever I want with if I want to hold up a Remand. So we just play a Jacob pass. Okay, this can't be a land, but I could Clever Impersonator their Cursed Mirror as an untapped mana source and still have Remand up. Trying to speed my way towards the Scholar. I have nothing in my grave to recast for the Scholar anyway, though, which feels pretty bad. So I think I have to Vraska the Hydra, or I have to just set up Jacob. I'm gonna set up Jacob here. I'm 1 mana away from flipping Jacob. So if Jacob doesn't die here, and his ability gets us to a land, we get that flip. Once during each returns may cast a land or spell from among the cards without paying its mana cost. So yeah, we could like tap Jacob, draw land, exile Scholar, tap out to flip Jacob and cast Scholar for free. It's basically cast Scholar for 6 instead of 7 next turn, if he's still around. They got Hostage Taker from Murdoch. Yeah. They hostage take Jacob here and immediately have the mana for him since it's mana of any color. Alright, we remand that. They're 1 mana off from the insta recast. But now we gotta worry about a hostage taker next turn. It only deals with artifacts or creatures. So we just don't play Scholar. We can play Vraska next turn and they can't hostage take Vraska. I could actually tap Jacob, exile Vraska. Okay, never mind. I was gonna say I could tap Jacob, exile Vraska, flip Jacob to cast Vraska for free. Then they can't hostage take Jacob or the Vraska here. Alright. Now we hard cast Vraska because I have no instance to hold up. Shut off the Hydra. And they have one hostage taker and one card in hand versus Vraska on board. And then Slasher, Scholar, Impersonator in hand. I feel like we're a tiny bit ahead here, even being a little behind on life total. This feels advantageous. We'll see. It really depends what their other card in hand was and what they draw into. So one of them is a green shell, which is quite solid. 4/6 that ramps up a little bit, but that'll be easy enough to just blow up here. Suppose that's another treasure. Okay. I'm in a pretty awkward spot, knowing that they have a hostage taker. I guess if they hostage take Scholar, they can't, like, immediately recast, but I'm also not recasting anything with Scholar. There's no way I can give them Slasher. Is the play genuinely impersonate a Clone Crafter? I kind of feel like it is. This is so weird. Clone Crafter, the actual MVP for everybody here. Play lands from the top. If you control 3 or more creatures with different powers, you can cast creatures from the top as well. Okay, if I play this, they just hostage take it. They've got the mana for it. Yeah, we hold off. We're chilling. So goofy that 3 Clone Crafters have been cast this game, and they've been, again, like the absolute MVPs. Fountain Port Fish has arrived. There's Hostage Taker. All right. Hostage Taker, Clone Crafter. This is going to be the 4th Clone Crafter cast, and it's going to be pretty good. Oh, it lets them get Clever Impersonator? Okay, that's even grosser. So they can just get a Vraska here? Oh, boy. Okay, I didn't think that through. I somehow, for some reason, thought that Hostage Taker was just going to be another Clone Crafter off of the Exile on Clever Impersonator, but the fact that it is Clever Impersonator is pretty bad. But now the Hostage Taker's out of the way, so we don't have to worry about that anymore. Oh, dear. I should not have played land for turn yet. I should probably try to do that off the Augur. Yeah, there was a land on top. Dang it. We missed a card draw here by bad sequencing, because I'm playing cards that are not my own. And forgetting how to play them right. So somebody's going to become a treasure token here. We'll see which one. They can't get rid of both these creatures off of Vraska alone. Unstoppable Slasher is a treasure, sure. try to draw through our deck with Augur. This is a wild game of Magic. This has been so grindy. This definitely could have been played out better. There's enough complex things going on, I don't remember exactly what turns would have played out in what different ways. Okay, Primal Might is absolutely disgusting here, because they get to eat our thing and our Vraska. Yeah, we're gonna have to say no to that. Goodbye, fish. We chomping? Yeah, we chomping. Yeah, I know with 100% certainty we could have played last turn better by playing the land off the top of our deck instead of the land in our hand. That would have given us this extra kind of draw step here. But also the Clever Impersonator turn, I completely forgot how the Clever Impersonator versus Hostage Taker kind of thing would play out. So, this probably could have been a winning game, but it is looking very losing right now. O'Hare probably has to become a treasure token. I probably have to cast this sorcery speed so I have an untapped blocker, but then they can just make it a treasure. Play this tapped, but yeah, so I have to mana minus Vraska on O'Hare, and then Hostage Taker gets to kill our Vraska. Theirs sits there and just keeps drawing cards. We lose from there, most likely. I mean, it's Cube. Insane plays can happen. Insane draws can happen, so I suppose we hold out hope for that. I mean, I could hope for an insane top deck right now, or just hope to really win the top deck war with Supreme Luck. Either way, it's quite a gamble. Bye, Vraska. Yeah, this is tragic. Just that one interaction was definitely the most detrimental part of the whole game, was not realizing they get to cast a Clever Impersonator and get their own Vraska. Because if we just sat there forever and basically never didn't cast anything that turn, we'd be winning just off of Vraska sitting there against a player with no Vraska. That definitely single-handedly cost us the game. I just forgot how that interaction works. Not the kind of stuff that happens in Limited too often. Okay, well that's really good. That's really good. Spells that target Terror of the Peaks. Spells that target it cost 3 more. I can hostage take it and cast it immediately, or I can hostage take Hostage Taker and then hostage take Terror of the Peaks. But then I can't cast it immediately. I can only cast it as long as it remains exiled. So I guess even if they make this a treasure token, this is still technically on board. I might be able to cast Terror. I don't know. I think I've punted enough this game to be willing to just figure out if this works the fancy way that I want it to. Where it doesn't matter if they turn my other Hostage Taker into a treasure because it's technically still on board. And then we'll see. Chump with a fish. Chump with a carry added. They drawn a card off Fountain Port or something? No, they just rather chump with that than the fish. Alright. Maybe they need a creature that doesn't have Defender? Or they just want the token for the draw. Okay, Fountain Port draw off of the fish token. They've got a Vraska draw available as well. Or they can make our Lock Whale or our Hostage Taker a treasure token. I think if they make this purple Hostage Taker a treasure token, I can still cast Terror of the Peaks because it's technically still on the board, but I am unsure. I know if you genuinely destroy the Hostage Taker, then you can't cast the card. Okay, they're not even going to try. Fair enough. They concede! I did a big old spiel about how I probably punted that game away with specific weird cube interactions that I completely forgot how they work. I guess if I played a lot of Commander, I would probably know how that works as well, because that's the kind of nonsense that happens there too. Just a lot of constructed in general with these weird, like recast a clone type stuff. But yeah, then I was also saying it's also a cube draft. The cards are incredibly powerful. You never know. You could just top deck the actual nuts, and we did top deck Hostage Taker to just completely flip the board into our favor in terms of all the creatures, and they just didn't hit the action they needed to get the blockers or removal or anything. So they're over it. That was a really, really lucky ending for us, that one. I definitely played out really, really poorly. I mean, it's in the deck name for sure, Chromatic Noob. The Cube Noob over here, back at it again, but we are 6-2 in the money out of this draft no matter what, as we head into that final battle. Got to keep it interesting. We kept it as interesting as possible here with 2 losses and 6 wins. That means we're on the absolute final game of Magic for this draft. Whatever happens here, whether we win or lose, this is our final boss, our final battle for today. All right, here we are for the final battle. I love this hand. This looks like a really well-designed Dimir control deck. This looks like somebody who knew what they were doing drafted this deck, which is not the case, but we can pretend here with this opening hand. Start with Temple of Deceit. Find a Clever Impersonator. I don't mind that, even without anything great to copy myself. To copy one of their cards in the future. It's going to be a Dimir control mirror match, it looks like. Yep, pure blue-black from all the lands that we've seen so far. The difference is that they are on the play, so they're advantaged a little bit here. Again, being in the tempo lead. They've got really good fixing. There's Worn Power Stone. That is more than good enough ramp to slow that down. Otherwise, they play a 6-drop next turn. So yeah, I'm going to remand that. And then we'll play Rona here, because I have nothing better to do with this mana. I can impersonate their Power Stone next turn. Oh god! Cura Power Stone? That's pretty filthy. Okay, they just go Cura Case of the Lost Witness here, that's fine. But they're gonna have Cura plus Power Stone coming up. I could impersonate Cura, I guess? I think I'm just holding up Siphoner, though. It feels better with a hand like this that's just not that good to hold up Rona's ability instead of attacking for 1. Even though I could hit like their Planeswalker for 1, it's a 6 loyalty Cura. One of the really cute things I can do is if I draw the card off of Rona and it's not an instant or sorcery, then I can Siphoner for just 2 and also remand here, which I will do. Now they could still play Power Stone this turn, but they can't get the Kiora tap. Oh, unless they have their own remand, that would be pretty filthy. Okay, they at least aren't going to use it on Siphoner. We'll see if they use it on remand. Beautiful. Beautiful. So now they have to spend the Kiora on a land. Oh god, they have the Fibblethip? They Case of the Lost Witness and immediately top-decked the Fibblethip and solved the case. So for the rest of the game, they can look at the top card of the library and play any lands or spells from the top. Oh, wow. The literal instant Fibblethip draw. It's got the alchemy symbol and everything, so you know it was shuffled in by the case. The like 1 in 30 chance. That's so disgusting. All right, that's the sickness right there. That's actually nuts. Okay, so they're gonna kind of get us with that, I guess. We could like Vraska and then just try to use the fact that they've got like nothing on board against them here. I could also just flip Rona and do the same. Yeah, I think we just try to take advantage of the fact that we've got a lot more creatures on board right now. If they block Rona at all, they're in a horrible spot. Let's go Cura. Again, just stopping Power Stone super mana shenanigans. Because if they have a boatload of mana, that is particularly gross with Case of the Lost Witness, because that just gives them infinite stuff to do with their mana. Oh my god. Unlocked Case of the Lost Witness plus Oracle of the Alpha, so if they have any Moxes on top of their deck, they just go Mox, 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 and just dig through it all. All the 0 mana cards from the Power 9. If you don't know the Power 9, they are the classic 9 most powerful cards ever printed: Ancestral Recall, Time Walk, Time Twister, Black Lotus, and all the Moxes. Pretty disgusting stuff. Boy. I mean, we're doing great in terms of having a lot more creatures than our opponent still. If I impersonate Rona, does it show up as the front or the back? There's so many things I don't know when it comes to cube cards, constructed cards. I mean, I could just impersonate their Oracle, but that's not a legend, so I won't be able to Price of Fame it. Oh, Rona's legendary. I should impersonate Rona anyway. Don't actually really think the body of Oracle of the Alpha really matters much. It's really just the enter effect, and that's already happened, so I'm just not going to kill it here. I'll lock in the kill on Cura, make sure they don't have even more mana to go with Power Stone. Although they only have enough to do it once, but this also stops the card draw from it. That's so close. I feel bad for my opponent because I'm going to be thinking a lot here. It's our last game of Magic. This is the decider to see if we get the 7 win. So I am perpetually in the think tank. Let's go face. Cura is 2 extra mana one time, and then she's gone forever. I guess I have the perfect mana to also enable to Scream Oracle here. I guess I might as well. Then they don't have a flyer to poke Vraska with. If I thought through that whole turn at the very beginning and saw exactly how much mana that I had, then the best play would have been to just unable to Scream the Oracle pre-combat, so I send the Cyba Siphoner in for damage as well. Cyclonic Rift. Honestly, not horrific if they don't have Time Walk in hand. If they have Time Walk in hand, we lose, but that's kind of how Oracle the Alpha works. Is that you shuffle the Power 9 in, but really what you want is Time Walk. And if you hit Time Walk, you super win. Good lord. Oh. Yeah, that's some Power 9 right there. That's almost all of them. Recall, Sapphire, Ruby, Lotus, Emerald. There's only one copy of the Power 9 in those 30, right? That's 5 out of the 9? Jeez. 5 out of the 9 were in like the top 6 cards or something. Good grief. They have tons of mana for anything on top, but if they hit another land for turn, it's still going to be stuck there. There's a Clone Crafter to dig something out of our deck. Sakura for a green for Mox Emerald and pass. Well, I could probably just concede right now, because again, Case of the Lost Witness plus the Power 9 in the deck is insane. Oh. Scholar doesn't do much. I guess I can impersonate Oracle the Alpha and then hope to draw like Insanity. I mean, if we're as lucky as our opponent. They found 5 of the Power 9 in like the top 6 cards. They found Fibblethip right on top, literally the turn after they played Case of Lost Witness. So stranger things have happened. We could draw into Time Walk before then, or before them. Shoot, I don't have the mana to Impersonator and still have Siphoner Remand up. I don't think Remand's even good at this point, though, is it? 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, because Power Stone's 2 mana. 15 mana over there? I don't even think Remand matters much. Probably just scoop. I'll try to impersonate the Oracle this turn, I guess. C double for another copy of the Power 9 in their deck when they can play them off the top with Case of the Lost Witness. Or some duplicator for another copy of the Power 9 in their deck. Please have mercy. Okay, as crazy as Cube is, I don't see any future for us this game. I think the best draw in the universe wins this. I mean, if they have, like, no counterspells in their whole deck, I could top deck Time Walk and then go Time Walk, Siphoner, Time Walk, Scholar, Time Walk, win. If Time Walk is literally the top card of my deck and they have no counters, then we can win, but that's, like, literally the only way. Because if that happens, I can Time Walk, like, 4 turns in a row. I go Time Walk, Siphoner Time Walk, Impersonator Time Walk, Scholar Time Walk. And we can win if we get that many turns. Okay, they hit Time Walk, so we lose. Man. They hit double Time Walk? Come on. They were all 3 on top, too. They cast those from the top, not from their hand. They genuinely went Time Walk off the top, Time Walk off the top, Time Walk off the top. How does that even happen? How does my opponent go Case of the Lost Witness, draw the 1 Fibblethip that it makes at random immediately, Oracle of the Alpha, hit 5 of the 9 Power 9 within the top 6 or 7 cards, and then their last turn, Time Walk off the top for Case, Time Walk off the top for Case, Time Walk off the top for Case. I'm genuinely in awe right now. This is literally unbelievable. I mean, like, at this point, they've played enough Oracles. Yes, they're gonna be able to do that, but I think they had like 4 copies of the Power 9 in their deck when they hit 3 Time Walks in a row off the top. And I should have known it was a horrible omen when they turn 3 hit Fibblethip off of the Case. That was the literal 1 out of 30 chance that they immediately just hit perfectly. All right, I'm going home. They can well, no, we'll let them goldfish it. Whatever. It's the last game. This is pretty fun. I've been on the other side of the table and this stuff. It is kind of fun. So I'll let them do it. Gives us a little more time to talk. This was a great draft, honestly. We probably would have been able to get a 7-win run if I played perfectly today. I think that was really the only issue that we were having was gameplay errors just from unfamiliarity with the cards because I don't play a ton of Constructed or a ton of Cube. But as far as the deck itself, it ran really, really well. I'm pretty happy with the deck build. Just a streamlined 2-color control deck like this plays pretty well. I mean, this game was complete and utter nonsense. I don't think we were ever winning this. Again, the horrible omen of Case of the Lost Witness, my first draw is another homunculus, should have told me right off the bat. But you still go for it there. First couple losses, though, I think both of those definitely different plays could have been had that could have changed the outcomes of the game potentially over time if we play it out better, but I don't have a super good memory, so I don't remember exactly what happened in each of those games. I would have to go look back at the footage, which I probably will while I'm editing, but again, overall great run. 6-3 is super solid. We get more gold than we paid to enter. And we got to see some utter nonsense. This has been the most utter nonsense of all the games. If my opponent chooses not to kill me this turn, I will concede, because at that point they're just stroking themselves. I'm completely tapped out at 1 life, so they're already kind of doing it, but I don't think they technically could have killed me last turn because I think they attacked with everybody. So if they go to their next extra turn, I'll leave. But we'll give them one more turn of this. It is cool to... It's not that cool to watch. It's kind of cool to watch. It's very cool to play, though. It's very fun to play, so give them that opportunity. It's not the kind of thing you have that many opportunities to do. You can get Oracle of the Alpha chain loop wins a lot, but you don't generally get to play them out because almost every time your opponent just concedes, like, instantly. So we'll let them do the thing a little bit longer. Another time with Twister, sure. Gonna poke me for one yet? No. More Moxes, sure. Sure. The funniest thing is when somebody's doing like a big combo loop like this in a paper game of Magic. Because technically, like, you always get priority and you're always supposed to be like, yep, sure. Sure, pass. Sure, pass. So I've seen pictures of like tournament players in paper when their opponent's comboing off with any kind of combo deck in like Modern or something. They'll just write F6 on a piece of paper and just put it there and then lean back. F6, for any arena zoomers out there, Magic Online is the original digital way to play Magic. It has basically every Magic card ever printed on there, unlike Arena that only has some of the cards from 2014 onward now that we have full Pioneer. Magic Online has cards all the way back from the original sets. They've got the Masters editions and stuff that have like beta cards and everything. But anyways, it's like the older boomerier or Excel spreadsheet looking way to play Magic Online. And if you click F6 on Magic Online, it just passes priority for the whole rest of the turn, no matter how much mana you have up, no matter what cards you have in hand. It's kind of like the pass turn button on Arena, but for some reason the pass turn button only works like half the time for me. I don't know exactly. Like, I know when I click F6, if I need to do anything that turn, I'm doomed. But if I click pass turn on Arena, sometimes it'll still ask me when they cast a spell if I want to play an instant. It's kind of weird. Oh, well, I might be slightly regretting my decision to let them play this turn out. They technically have not gone to another turn since the point that I said I would let them play this full turn out. It's just that they keep hitting lotuses, so they get to keep twistering. If I had enough time, I would be kind of interested in just sitting here and then keeping this footage in, but just like leaving the seat and just seeing how long they decide to go off for. But I don't know if I have the time. Yeah, there's gonna be there's supposed to be a routine like pest exterminator people coming to the apartment today sometime between 9 a.m. and 6 p.m. So I'm trying not to record during that time, and it is 9:19 a.m. But hey, whatever, I'll just sit here. That would be fun. That's a fun idea for how to end this. I'm just gonna leave it running. This is gonna look like a super, super long draft. If you want to skip to the end of this game, by all means do so, because we're just going to hang out and see how long my opponent decides it would be fun to keep doing this. I wonder if they'll take all 12 of their extra turns. I mean, if they want to stay here for like another hour, I'm not going to do that, but this is getting really funny how long they're going through this instead of just attacking me for one. This is getting a little ridiculous. Grab some popcorn, lean back. Oh, combat. This is the moment of truth. What kind of player are they? They take the extra turn? Oh my god, my opponent's a monster? Oh, the mad lad. I respect that. I respect that. They're not gonna attack for one. Oh, I genuinely respect that. Like, it's just a game of digital magic, and I can literally concede at any point. This is not like mega BM or anything. It's just like, hey, they're having fun doing it. Why not? They know I can concede at any time. It's not like I'm held hostage or anything. So it is very funny though that they're just gonna keep doing it. They don't even want to hit me yet. They're like, whatever. I got 11 extra turns. This will be fun. All right, well, that's pretty cute. I'm gonna go do something else for a little bit. I'm gonna go load the dishwasher or something. Oh, no, we might be done. They've exiled my entire deck. Well, if they wanted to get the mill victory, oh, are they gonna exile my whole deck and then recall me? Make me draw 3? That's super cute. They definitely have a recall somewhere and all that. I mean, I don't have a recall in hands. There's one in the deck somewhere. They can cast my recall against me to make me draw for my empty library. We might actually be done. They might not keep playing it out here. Yeah! All right. That was cool. That was a fancy way to end it. All right, the respect has tripled for opponent with that ending there. All right. Well, that was an absolutely absurd last game of Magic. Our opponent was living in magical Christmas land from turn 2 of the game. There's not much we can do there, but I definitely did not play this draft out super correctly. There's a lot of, again, these really constructed-oriented cards that I'm not super familiar with. There was the one really, really loose game of Magic that we were super lucky to win, but I'm sure in our other losses we also had some loose lines due to some card unfamiliarity that may have cost us those early games. But again, that last game of Magic, nothing we could have done there. But I'm happy with this. I think we drafted pretty well, got a really nice blue-black control deck that carried us to the 6-3 run, and that's a solid record. We're straight up in the money here. Spent 4,000 gold to have a bunch of fun playing some Cube, end up with 5,000 gold instead of just the 4,000, and some extra gems from these random rare rewards. Feels like an excellent place to be starting off these Chromatic Cube drafts, but we'll have a couple more as I rotate between Outlaws of Thunder Junction and Chromatic Cubes throughout this week, leading up to the Early Access event next Wednesday. That is the Early Access event for Aether Drift, and I will be recording a bunch of videos for you all so that we can be doing some early access drafts and sealeds of Aether Drift starting next Wednesday all the way up to the set's launch on Arena the Tuesday after that. So thanks again to Wizard of the Coast for inviting me to that event. I'm super, super pumped for that, so stay tuned if you're interested. If you're interested in more Chromatic Cube, there will be more every other day until then. And that'll do it for today. Had a really fun draft, but that is going to end today's video. As always, I'd like to thank my patrons and YouTube members for their support, as well as you for watching the video. If you enjoyed this video and are interested in seeing some more, you can always like, comment, and subscribe to tell the YouTube algorithm to send you some more in your recommended feed. If you'd like to catch me live, you can check out the Twitch channel in the link in the description below. And if you'd like to support the channel directly, you can check out the Patreon link in the description below. But other than that, as always, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you again soon for some more Magic Arena.